So we're here with Ray. We're here with 1:33 a.m.
San Bernardino. I was born in Pomona, but was raised out in San Bernardino since I was like 5. So
You got the music scene from San Bernardino because you're creating like a movement, like a music movement. How did that come to be? What is it? Like what is that?
Future Soul is like a platform for a lot of artists. Kind of started in the back of a car. Like we were just me and my friends. I would say like the end of 2018. My friend was a music producer. My friend was driving, and we would just chill, right, and relax and vibe out. But it just started off as just us hanging out. And she was like, I'm going to manage his music. And I was like, this could be a lot more bigger than that. That could be a platform for a lot of artists. So I was like, and ever since then, it just clicked. And that was the start of a lot of things.
So you manage artists or
I create shows. So I curate like from anything from the venue, designing, showcasing the art. I find the artists, pretty much the whole concept of doing a show. I'm all involved with that.
And how long you been doing these shows?
For a couple of years now. Our first shot was because in San Bernardino, like it a lot of people don't know what's really there unless you personally get to talk about these things. I felt like I was like, let me Google something, and I told her like we need to start doing something. I don't know. Let me Google like showcasing in San Bernardino because it's like people know it as high crime and poverty and all these things, but it's like, let's see what else is out there beyond that, you know? So I searched it up and I found this downtown building space, and it was called the Enterprise Building. And that Enterprise Building, I guess I was just trying to look for a booth or just talk to people, and I guess they were showcasing art there. And these ladies, I was like, hey, like, who's in charge of this building? And I guess one of the guys, she's like, oh, that's that guy. He's in charge of this building. And I was just like, huh. I'm like, let me go talk to him. And I told him, like, we're trying to do, like, lo-fi hip-hop and, you know, bring some different vibe. Like, I don't care what it is. It's, like, something that brings culture and music together, you know? And he was a little old school, like, mentality, an older man that just, you know, is a little different from what we're used to. And he's like, I don't think that's going to bring the right energy here. Like, I don't think that's going to bring the right crowd here. And he denied me. He was like, I don't know about this. And the other guy's like, are you trying to do a show here? And I was like, he overheard what I was saying. So what he said was like, no. The other guy was like, yeah, this could be something. And he's like, hey, I have a space upstairs. I'm a tenant from one of these buildings. If you guys want to throw a small intimate show for 30 people, I was like, is this really happening? Nice. And I was like, I was looking at my friend, and me and my friend were just like, what the heck? Like, should we do it? Okay, cool. And we went upstairs, and he's like, yeah, like, when do you guys want us to do your first show? I was like, okay. Like, I was like, and then maybe a month later, we just had our small intimate kind of like a tiny desk kind of vibe. Nice. And ever since then, it was just like this ball movement. And I was like, I'm excited. Let me just keep doing another one and another one. And yeah, it's just a start of that was just like that. I felt like give credit and flowers to Calum, which is the guy who kind of like saw the energy and the light in that. So I was like, okay, like Calum was, he's seen it before anybody else saw it. So I was like, okay. And Calum has his own media podcast as well called Politic and Podcasting. So he's put me on, and I'm so grateful for a lot of the people who see the movement happening. So that was just the start of a lot of great things. So
and it's so that you say it was lo-fi hip-hop. Is that what like you try to focus on, or is that any artist?
I did start with like lo-fi and, you know, beats and production and stuff like that. Like, I'm very keen on the music label called Selection. I don't know if you guys heard of Selection.
No.
Yeah. So Selection is this platform that showcases hip-hop, lo-fi, you know, music production. And when I seen Joe K, which is one of the DJs who found Selection, I was like, I'm inspired by what they're doing. Like, they're going on tour, they're doing their own content, and I just feel like it's just a vibe, you know? So I was like, let me do something like that. Let me create something where I can bring that energy here instead of going to a big city, you know, bring that here.
And you're opening doors for these small artists that are, like you said, the negative stigma. We're like, oh, I don't know about throwing that show here. Like, whenever you talk to anybody about throwing anything hip hop or experimental, they're like, I don't know, that's the right. You know, they're trying to attract like an older, safe crowd because they don't want to take risks. But it's like, no, that's where the movement's at the young people. You know, that's how you create a scene. But that's kind of like why I wanted to bring you into the podcast and have this conversation, because I'm planning my first show. And when I seen that, Ricky's like, oh, I gotta put you in with somebody. Like, I did this show. Well, first of all, I was talking about the show you guys threw over there in the wash, where like it was like crazy lighting and the cinematography on those videos. Yeah. Whoever did those videos was so dope. And like, of course, the song was amazing. So, like, man, I have so many questions. So, like, how did that event come to?
So, like, not only just doing shows, I was like, even during the pandemic, like when I started doing shows, it was 2019, and the pandemic hit, right? And 2020, it's like the whole showcasing, you couldn't be with people. Yeah. And so, as a creator, anyone who's building something, you have to think outside the box. And a lot of people either like they pivot or they like stay like in their spot. And I'm like, okay, well, I want to create something where we can do these online showcasing, maybe not have a crowd, but still showcase artists in a different light. So we started doing this segment called the Park Series. Nature's not canceled during a pandemic, you know. Everyone's still, you know, doing, you know, stuff in nature. But, you know, I was like, okay, let's do segments called Park Series where we bring artists in nature, and we did like a park setup, and we'll have them like a little intimate setting. And then we started doing night series, which was during the fall, and like, okay, like we brought electronic artists. So we started opening pave for other different genres. And I was like, one of the guys that I was working with, he does photography, and he's like, hey, I know this really cool spot. I'm not gonna say what, because I love that spot. Okay, like I love that spot. It's just like, you know, it's such a hidden gem. And when I seen it, I was like, this is it. We gotta do stuff here. And we had another photographer, and then we put all our ideas together. Like, he had his like UV lights, and he's like, I'm gonna put this together. That was crazy. We've always been the type of people that like, even if we have a small budget or something that you know that you can flip around, that's like, but we do that. Like, we're such, if you're an imaginative or creative person, you'll find a way to flip something or turn it to your own, you know what I mean? And so I've always seen like, what people see is trash. I'm like, no, that could be something else. I'm gonna use that. Like, that's how I've always been, you know. So seeing that wash area, flipping and seeing like the imagery and the photography and the direction, it was just like, no, we can do so much with this. And so he was one of the first artists that we put on, and he was like, okay, like, I'm down. And I was like, yo, you get to put your song selection, and like, this is just for you, just to showcase who you are as an authentic artist. And a lot of artists do appreciate that, because it gives them that space.
Yeah, I appreciate that you even gave me like that time. Because I showed up and I thought it was just a wash. Then they started bringing out these lights, these flashlights. They put like lens over them, which created another color, and like started pointing them at me, pointing up at different places. And like, they got like little cajones and put them together and made like a whole like DJ stand. I was like, bro.
Yeah, no.
Bro, like, no, yeah, they made like
he kept seeing it. He's like, oh, what's going on? Whoa. The whole time, like, it was just like throughout the whole night, he's like, no way.
Yeah, they were setting up. I was like, no way.
Yeah, so I think it's just the innovation to just keep creating no matter.
And how do you guys meet?
Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, Instagram.
No, yeah. Like, I was like, how did we meet? Like,
because you said, so is he like one of the artists that you found through Instagram?
Yeah, like I see people who like follow each other or connect with them, and I'm like, oh, like I check out their page, and if it's something that I really resonate with, then I'm not the type of person to hold back. If I see an opportunity for anybody, like I'm like, hey, I know so and so, let's link up. You can link with that person, and I'm just like, I feel like we're so afraid of the unknown sometimes, but we just have to go out there and push ourselves, you know? And that's where I see it. It's like, I'm not going to be afraid. Like, sometimes we get uncomfortable with, like, the unknown or fearful of, like, you know, criticism stuff, but, like...
Start doubting when
but when you find people, you're like, hey, you're good. Like, I see something, let's do this. And then they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay. What's the worst thing to say? No.
Yeah, okay. That's true. What's, like, do you have, like, a plan for like a bigger dream that you have that you can't get right now? Maybe you don't have the budget or the venue. Have you thought of like something that you want to do?
Oh yeah. I want to do music festivals. Like I'm connected with Coachella. Like I've been going to shows since 2013, 2012, and I felt like a sense of belonging and a connection with just like meeting people around the world.
It's the best. Right?
It really is. And I was just like, man, it's like Disneyland here. Like,
it's like, better than it's Disneyland for adults.
Right. I just feel like there's so much energy and creativity, and people feel like, you know, for a lot of people, it's home.
So happy, like just being there, like no stress. You leave all your problems behind you, just there for the weekend.
You're there to just freaking vibe,
music,
like,
vibes.
That's how I knew. I was like, even before Future Soul, I was like, man, I'm going wherever the music's at. Where is it? And I'm like, and then I just started like naturally just gravitating towards that community, you know. And like, I was like, man, this would be cool to pull something like this so together. So I'm like, I am building the blocks for bigger shows and, you know, experiences, and I do see potential in like the emerging. When I select people to be a part of it, like I see them rising too with it. So I just see such a light in just like the music community, and like people who see San Bernardino, it's like, you know, Coachella started off with nothing. If you think about the story, have you seen the documentary?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a crazy story. It's a crazy story. Yeah. Like, it's a crazy story, which people thought, like, 2 hours away in the middle of nowhere, we can't do a show here. The possibilities are endless. Yeah. And I don't see it like that. I see it as like, okay, what are you going to do with it now?
Especially in the age of social media, because back then it was even harder. You know, you have no coverage, you have to spend more money. But now it's like, you could be resourceful with what you have. Like you were saying, you find something, some cajones, and make it part of the set, whatever you can. But you know what I mean? Like you're just working with what you have, and you already created something dope. Like I barely found out about it through Ricky, but like, man, that shit was so cool.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. Because how do you judge an artist to be part of the show? Because I'm pretty sure other artists are hit. Do you get hit up by like a lot of artists?
I know that sounds great, but I do really have a vision and an ear for what I see, but I look at music production, lyrical composition, unique style, like the way they hold themselves, like branding, and I just look at the way they tell a story through their music, or like have a strong message. Like I look for people that I see that really are their own individuality. Like they have their own unique take on themselves. They hold themselves with integrity. Like, you know, they stand for something.
Yeah.
And so it's like, even with their music, it's like, yo, like they took so many months and several months just to produce that one single track. I'm like, I know that you put a lot of time in that. So I look for all those things. And like I definitely look at their Spotify, like, you know, so it's definitely all these different factors that I feel like they take their music and their art serious, and I see that. So
how's a lot of people hit you up now that you've done more shows?
Yeah, a lot of people do hit me up, and a lot of like there's been a lot of opportunities, but with a lot of opportunities you kind of have to be mindful what's the direction of that gonna take you, you know? Like not all opportunities are yes opportunities, but they're like, okay, where is this gonna pivot if I do say yes to this? And a lot of people don't consider that, but I feel like when we say yes to something, you're opening a door, you're opening an opportunity, and sometimes it's going to take you to the direction you want to go, or sometimes it might take you somewhere else. So I think just being careful and mindful of what you're saying yes to. But yeah, there's a lot of artists who do want to work. Yeah, there's a lot of artists that do want to work and connect with us, and I just feel like it's a special movement, and I'm like, I feel like it's like a baby to me that's growing.
Well, when was your last show? The last time?
So right now I took a break, and I started like working on more on myself and my own mindfulness, because I've been in the type of go the whole time of like doing shows. And now the beginning of the year, I was like, okay, let me work on myself. Because being a creator, being an artist, like sometimes you get lost in it and you want to just kind of like always work on something. But I didn't like realize I was not putting time and energy in towards myself. So I was like, we owe ourselves that energy to put back into us. So I did a networking event last month just to get out there again with a lot of the artists. But before that, I was a part of Thought Festival, which was last year. And Thought Festival is like an underground hip hop festival that they do in Ontario. It's called, the Thought acronyms are the Happiness of Pursuit Festival. So if you guys listen to underground hip hop, it's pretty popular. I know like MERS was headlining, and I know the founder, 60 East. So there's a lot of movement when it comes down to that. But I did my last show for networking last month, and then I'll be working on an EP release with another artist this month, so I'm excited for that.
Like,
So,
what do you
like a showcasing, like a
showcase.
really, yeah, like a show
release party performance type?
Yeah.
So I'll be doing that this month.
That's so dope. When is that gonna be? Is that gonna be open to the public or no?
Yeah, it's gonna be open. It's gonna be in Pomona downtown, but we're kind of like sorting out the details and locking down.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
let us know.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll pull up if we have.
Yeah.
that'd
Are
be
you
dope.
guys familiar with Pomona?
Yeah, I mean, I've been there a few times, but I mean, I don't know the streets like that.
So it's like, I would say right before getting to Los Angeles, it's like the borderline.
No, well, I know where it's at.
Oh.
I'm just saying I don't know like the street.
Like by
Yeah.
heart.
It's,
Like,
oh, okay. But it's in the downtown area. Like, there's a lot of creativity there too. Like, there's downtown Pomona Art Walk that they have, and then they have the DPA, and I've met a lot of people over there in the Pomona town. Like, they
That's
have
dope.
a lot of gems there too. So, like, part of making this movement in the IE, I connected with a lot of people from the Riverside area, from Pomona, and like, I even reach out to people like from different states. I'm like, hey, like, if you're ever here, like, let's connect. Cause I feel like we have so much everywhere. And I'm just like, why let's all work together? I don't care.
Yeah.
That's good. I've been hitting people up from out of state too for like podcasts or whatever. I'm like, hey, have you ever come to Coachella or whatever? I know it's here. It's only like the festival is known for the festival. That's the problem here.
There's
But
other things.
it's a good problem though. Like,
It's a good one.
that people know the place for music. So I'm like, people know the place for the festival. It's worldwide and all that. But I want people to know that there's more.
Yeah.
100,000 people are coming for those weekends, and it's like, why aren't they checking out local? But there's no a local music scene. It's very, like, I feel like it's barely starting, and that's kind of like one of my goals is help out whatever I can. You know, give a platform for artists, whether it's interviews or live performances, and I also shoot music videos, and we do all kinds of stuff.
I've
so.
seen that. You're like pretty legit. Like, your editing skills are insane. So
We try.
Yeah,
No.
it looks good.
A lot of
looks
YouTube
really good.
tutorials.
Yeah.
Oh no! Shout out
pays off.
YouTube.
YouTube University.
Yeah,
Oh,
YouTube
yeah.
University. Like, if I don't know something, I'm gonna Google it.
Yeah.
Figure it
Go to
out.
YouTube right there. Yeah. That's where I learned everything.
Right.
Yeah, that's where I learned everything.
Yeah, we learn everything. If you're driven, you're gonna make it work. Same thing. Yeah, I want to ask you, like, if you're planning a show? So anybody listening to this podcast, they're like, I kind of want to do my own show, wherever they're from. What's like some of the advice you would have for like somebody throwing their first show?
Ooh, throwing their first show. Don't be afraid of asking for help. Like, it's really true. Like people, like, I think we get so caught up that we need to do everything ourselves. No, everything revolves around a community of people. And it's like, you know, I've always been like, no, we need to do everything ourselves. But no, like, that person might as well, like, you guys are helping each other. You know what I mean? We're helping each other grow. So it's like, ask someone, talk to them, like, let them know what I'm doing. Hey, are you part of it? Okay, let's do this. Like, don't be afraid to ask. You know, I feel like I go up to people all the time, and I feel like if you are being an entrepreneur, an artist, or a creator, you have to put yourself out of your comfort zone. Like, you really do, because I've noticed when I do things that are out of my comfort zone, things just open up. Like, people, if you sometimes we get in our way of things because we don't allow ourselves to be like, hey, we hold ourselves back. So it's like, if you're gonna do your first show, go talk to that person, go say hi, like, hey, my name's so and so, like, this is what I do, and I'm gonna be having this at my backyard, and I'm gonna enjoy it. Like, and you know, you'll be surprised how many yeses you'll get. Like, people are just as willing. They're in their head thinking the same thing, but they're just so afraid to just reach out, you know?
Yeah.
So I would just say, just like, hey, I go up to people all the time, even though I'm like, I'm like, even though I'm like, people are like, you're so social. I'm like, sometimes I'm not really, like.
No, like, dude, like, when I've seen, like, we're at an event or something, and then, like, I see her, she's like, oh, who's that? And it's like, oh, I'm gonna go talk to them. And it's like, right? Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah,
I make a lot of content and stuff, and like, I'm super shy. If I don't know somebody, I'm just gonna stay in the bag, and I'm just gonna chill. If I'm cool with you, then I talk to you, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, I just feel
to
like
be confident like that.
It's not even like, sometimes we get in our head a lot about things or second guess ourselves. But I was just talking to him. It's like, have you heard of the phrase called analysis by paralysis?
Yeah.
when you think about it too much, you just freeze up and you don't do anything.
You don't actually take action. You just wait. You think of all the negative scenarios.
No, and I'm like, no, we gotta do this. We're gonna do this. So I tell myself, like, if it's uncomfortable, that means it's gonna help you grow.
Yeah.
And that's what I do all the
So
time.
you have the release schedule planned out, but do you have any shows planned out for like the fall or anything?
So I'm gonna be planning out some stuff like later on. I'm kind of like working low key for now, just because I want it to really happen. And so I'm like, okay, let me just work on it, and then I'm just gonna pop it up online. So right now I'm just working on the EP showcasing this month, and then I do have something in October. I'm not gonna say yet. Yeah, but it's that I'm a part of that. I'm not gonna say the name. Yeah, I'm trying to
for the patron only episode. That's gonna be nice. I do gotta do.
Yeah, and then next year I'm just planning a lot of I do want to do like a lot of women empowerment shows. Like I feel like as for me, who's leading like showcasing, there's not a lot of Latino women trying to be in entrepreneurs or in leadership roles, and I feel like we're slowly making waves for that. And so I feel like we need more women in music to be, hey, I'm doing this, and I want to, I'm
an artist,
and dancers, and I just feel like I want to give space for that too, and make a movement for that too as well. So I'm like working on music for like women, like kind of like making like a showcasing of women in music.
That's so cool. When I was looking for artists right here local, at least just here in the valley, I was like, I want to have a female performer. And I was like looking, and there's like maybe 3. Like it's very rare.
It's rare out here, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's like that in a lot of places.
Just in
general.
And just in general, in the music industry, or just like where women in leadership, we're slowly making waves. But I feel like even in music, I see it as male predominant. Like we need to have that space where like, I make my own music, I dance, I sing, like. I want to give space. I want to give flowers to women who are like doing their thing too, you know, and I think we do need more showcasing of that, more shine to that, because at the end of the day, like, you know, it's such an important aspect of music that, you know, we don't really talk about. And I feel like we need to give space for that and showcase that. So I do want to do more women in music showcasing.
I saw on your Instagram that you're playing the guitar. Do you make music too?
I do like low key, like that's something like, I do play guitar, I do write a little bit, but I haven't.
Really good at it, by the way. Yeah, you really are.
Yeah, I know. I've always been drawn to music. I probably am. That's something that I'm gonna get out there eventually, but I just haven't really like said anything about it. I'm just putting these videos out there to put myself out there. Yeah, you know, so I can slowly.
You're helping people. They'll help you when it
comes like time. I slowly am putting that energy to showcase music. But I'm just all about creation in general. So that's where I'm at. My headspace is like, I'm gonna put these videos out there, but I'm gonna slowly make music too. So
do you guys have like a strategy for releasing content around the festivals or the events? Like, do you guys like social media content? Do you guys plan it out, or
you guys with artists, especially like I get really connected with the artists, and like I talk to them like, hey, like what is the best days to post on your days? Like, okay, what's your highlights? What's the best time to post? And I usually do like a week or two in advance of just like showcasing, okay, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, those are your best highlights, right? So okay, we're going to drop this on noon, and then we're going to drop this at 7. Is that like your best when you have your most engagement? Yes. Okay, cool. So that's usually like I get connected with the artist just to make sure that we're both in alignment. And then I noticed that like TikTok is such a huge platform now, and just being more advocate for the social media scene like that, it's just you gotta be adaptable. So it's like making reels, getting like unique, you know, edits, and like, you know, people love seeing like unique stuff that pops up. So I want to do more like video promo based on like reels and just like showcasing that. So I definitely do want to pivot more stuff on TikTok. So I started.
Do you guys have a TikTok?
Yeah, we just made one. So that's pretty much where I see the direction going.
Yeah, you gotta be posting, especially I know for promotions, but like almost daily. Like you just gotta.
You have to be on it.
Random videos will do great. Like let's say 15 TikToks are on one of your events, especially the women empowerment one, or you talk about your story, like you telling your story, showing some of the visuals for some of those events that you've thrown, or just like the community around it. People love that. They want to see behind the scenes.
Yes.
It's like not a lot of times is like you don't see that because it's different. It's rare. A lot of times is like the curated, you know, it's the same stuff. Oh, and just scroll by, and then they'll see something like, oh, what, a show? Like, what is this? Like, okay, people engage. And right now, I had a video that I posted was 2 minutes and 20 seconds. It's the first time I posted a long form because usually you want to make it 12 seconds or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And this one got like the most engagement out of all my videos. Like,
Because it was
blew up.
engaging.
It was a good story.
Wait,
Yeah.
what was it about? What was the content?
It was a clip from the podcast.
Oh,
But
wow.
the last like 2 months, I've been making like 12-second, 15-second parts, like edited with like graphics. And I literally posted like it was edited as well with no graphics, but just I cut out the dead space. And it was 2 minutes and like 20 seconds. And out of nowhere, that one started taking off. And people were like, oh, I want to see part 2 and like all kinds of stuff. I was like, God damn, like it never happened before.
Yeah,
So,
I think it's also when you least expect it, and the one that you think that wasn't gonna pop off is the one that does. I feel like a lot of people, we don't think of those things. It's like when you least expect it, it does.
Yeah, and TikTok's the same way you approach like speaking to people or taking chances. Is like just post whatever as many types of content behind the scenes during the show. You know, the planning. The worst thing I could say is no, or people just scroll past it. But then the next one might go viral, and then if one of them goes viral or semi-viral, gets 10K views or 5K views or 100K views, whatever.
Wow.
That brings traffic to the other videos.
Okay.
Especially since you work with artists, it'll be beneficial because the artists, you know, will like support. They'll be in the comments, and then they might check out these other artists that are on your page, and then another artist blows up. They might check out the other artists. You're creating a little,
It's like a
Okay.
waterfall.
and just creating a
Ripple
content.
effect.
I don't know, content farm. I don't know. That's what I'm trying to do with YouTube. So for my Tiny Desk performances that I was telling you, I want to do the same thing with like give a platform for artists to perform their songs, and if one of them does well, since other songs are also on that channel, the other songs will do well from these other artists, and
Wow.
they all help each other out. So
I love that.
It's part
I
of the
love that. That's beautiful. And so, I just feel like, especially, so Future Soul, like in general, I do feel that when I started it there was so much different things that were happening in the downtown area, just growing it, but just having people come through and then having other local businesses come through, it's just like a snowball effect. And I feel like we don't think about these things, but they all trickle into the bigger picture. So like I would say just keep going. You know, I feel like a lot of artists we get like kind of like lost or not, you know, we stop the momentum of it, but in reality it's consistent, being persistent with everything that you're doing. So I honestly feel like I owe it to the locals and for myself, for other people to excel and just innovate with everything that you have, you know. So that's where I stand with that.
nah, I love the whole movement, and especially since you're putting the people in front of you. You know, you're not
Yeah.
trying to make it about you or you're.
Oh, no.
You're literally
No.
making waves and opening doors for these artists. You know, like no one's doing that. That's so dope.
Oh, yeah,
I
dude,
appreciate that.
When you hit me up, I was like, what? I was like, what? Like, you want to give me a chance? Like, like it really like. It,
No, he was like, what? I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, like why not?
yeah, and then like they threw the whole thing together, and I was like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
wow. Like, this is what you guys do?
Yeah, no. So we do have a YouTube channel. So we're doing our park series and night series on there. So all the artists showcasing intimate sets of like their music outdoors. We do that, and then we are showcasing videos from our live shows in person on there as well. But it's just the YouTube channel is super important because we even had our first mix on there too. So we do mixes as well, like music selection. So we'll put all these artists together.
Oh, like a 30-minute show. I actually listened to one of them. I think I was editing or something. I just put one on when I was checking out his performance.
So I
that's
definitely
dope.
want to keep that up with I want to do one with the local artists with like their own music, original music, and just kind of do a mix and just like have Future Soul logo on top of it.
That's so dope.
Yeah, so I did one before, but I want to keep going with the
So the
mixes.
YouTube channel is called Future Soul, right?
Yeah, Future Soul.
Future Soul. I will put the links in the description and everything.
Yeah, I
So.
appreciate that. Thank you.
No, well, Ray, thank you for coming on the podcast. Ricky, thank you for joining and being a.
This needed to happen.
I appreciate
Yeah,
it. Like,
happen.
honestly, I feel like we're giving space for a lot of people to just make waves, to put themselves out there. And, like, I feel like you know, for someone who is going to start their own thing, I just feel like just don't hold back. Just let yourself be and just flourish. Just grow with it, you know?
Yeah, well,
put it out
go
there.
100%. Let's
100%. Let's go.
See, that wasn't bad.
Yeah. I'm like,